In this episode, Yuga and friends come across the Dark Tournament. Hey, this is Rex, and let's go ahead and discuss the next episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's 31, I think it is. It's been a while. It's been a week, or no, 2 weeks, right, since the last episode. But this one, yeah, pretty cool. Now, of course, they show up at the location that's supposedly going to have the Trumpet Duet tournament after training a lot of time. That was a funny episode last time. That was an interesting and weird one. But this time they come to seemingly an abandoned building. And when they get inside, they find a bunch of people rush dueling. And now it becomes pretty obvious that it turns out, so that the Trumpet Duet was all a ruse, that it actually genuinely was a rush duel tournament. Or at least, it was hiding and it was disguised. And, pretty interesting concept, I guess. It makes sense that they have a lot of other fans, for one thing, because, when they get there, everybody recognizes Yuga. They're like, oh my gosh, it's Yuga, the creator of Rush Duels. And they meet the person who's running all of this. It's this guy named Django, and he's pretty weird, really interesting. For one thing, he's addicted to Rush Duels. And, he lays out his backstory as well, which is, I guess kind of interesting as well, because he apparently used to be the student president at Goha 6th, but that they dueled over there and then were basically kicked out and had all their cards stolen by the Machine Cavalry Club until Django found out about Rush Duels and then, ended up loving the idea of drawing like 5 cards over and over. And he's so addicted to duels, to Rush Duels at this point, where he really has to draw cards, whether he's dueling or not. And even in dueling, it's pretty interesting. But, it kind of makes sense, I guess, them having... I don't want to say fans, but I guess allies in this, with the Machine Cavalry Club being basically the antagonist, them having allies like this, basically a bunch of, Django calls themselves all revolutionaries because they're all rush dueling in secret, and, I guess just the concept overall of Rush Duels, it kind of really makes you think, because, we've had villains all who are like, oh shoot, we gotta stop Rush Duels, but you kind of realize, like, they're really kind of, rebels, I guess, in Rush Dueling. It's weird to say, weird to think, but it's just pretty cool. So, of course, Django would love to duel against Yuga, the creator of Rush Duels, but Luke is actually pretty upset because of everything that he went through, all the training that he did for thinking that he was actually going to have to play trumpet, or play an instrument. And so to get all this anger out, he in turn challenges Django. So that's the duel of the episode, Luke versus Django. And, again, it's a relatively not low stakes duel. I think I mentioned, the one a few episodes ago, how it was kind of low stakes. This one, like, there's no real stakes, but of course there is anger, or there is, drive behind each of them. Luke, of course, he wants to burn off all this steam, all this anger after everything he went through. And Django, of course, just kind of wants to continue proving his point. While they're dueling, Django is just kind of going more on about the whole revolutionary idea, even to the point where, like, all the cards that Django's using are pretty interesting. They're a bunch of insect monsters, but they're all basically redone versions or references to the really, really old Yu-Gi-Oh cards that were used for the Huge Revolution is Over, which are like, United Resistance, people running about, all that. It was a really weird strategy, but, I guess it kind of works maybe a little better here with Rush Duels, even to the point where the trap that he uses seems a little more fair, I think, as opposed to whatever Huge Revolution is Over, this one being Giant Revolution. If he has 3 monsters, I think 3 monsters with 100 or less attack, insect monsters with 100 or less attack, he can destroy his opponent's monsters, and that's what he uses against Luke to destroy Luke's monster to hold himself off for a bit. And he's even got another ace monster, which is a level 7, even though it has only 100 attack. And it kind of sticks with the theme of having a bunch of low-level monsters. And, again, Django's just kind of going on about how his group of revolutionaries are like a bunch of small ants, but, when they come together, they're really strong. And like I said, it's just shown really well in his deck. This monster, though, it's, I wrote the name down. It is Rebelli-Ant of the Revolution. Again, a level 7 monster with only 100 attack, but it's got the effect that it's able to boost his own monsters. So his own monsters that are other low attack monsters. And so, kind of interesting, again, all these strategies that are working out with having basically a full field of monsters. But eventually that kind of works against him because Luke is able to summon this other monster, a new monster, which it seems like Luke's been getting quite a few new monsters. It's called Leather Life Dragon, which he returns normal monsters from his graveyard to the bottom of his deck, and for each one returned, this monster gains 800 attack, 700. It basically gets over to 4,200. But of course, in the face of another trap card, another giant ant revolution, it also has an effect that, while it's powered up like this, while it's in this different form and we see it visually change, then it can't be destroyed by card or trap effects, right? So there's another monster, interestingly, that Luke is using, but that kind of ties in with this theme of having a lot of monsters on the field, including his own monsters, right? It gains attack for every monster on the field, not for the monsters that return. Yeah, returning 4 monsters from the graveyard to the deck is the cost, is the activation cost. That's right, sorry. But, it makes some sense. And, at the end of the duel, it's not that Django's, defeated. It was really just kind of more of a fun duel, I guess, if you can call it that. But, even to the point where, afterwards, Luke is giving him some encouragement. He's saying, yeah, sure, you got trampled, but you put up a great fight. And, they get up, they shake hands, and, it's kind of nice. But I guess it's also interesting because now we see Django and at least his group of everybody. And, we kind of saw that everybody already liked Yuga, already was kind of on his side, back when he was dueling Neil. But I guess, now we've got an actual kind of group of people in this Dark tournament or whatever. But it's interesting to see how this is going to be going forward. Exactly. This Dark tournament that's going on, because at the very end of the episode, apparently they get found out. Someone's about to bust through the door. It doesn't show who it is, but very obviously it's a Machine Cavalry Club, especially with the preview for the next episode, because the preview shows Asana in the next episode. So seems like their operation is done for, or at least that their party's going to be crashed. But now it's, now we're going to be back into this conflict between them. Very likely I expect them to say something like, we heard some trumpets going on here, what we came to check it out, because apparently also they're still close to the grounds of the 6th Elementary, right? So they were, pretty close to that, but it was an abandoned building, so it was a good place to hide out, but probably also might have been a little obvious to check out if something was going on. But yeah, at least, we don't have to hear much about wind instruments in Yu-Gi-Oh! But overall, a pretty neat episode. Definitely a good one. I do like Django. I do like his character design, and I like, his attitude, I guess. Aside from the excessive rush duel addiction, his idea of, the revolution, everything is pretty neat. And especially, against the Machine Cavalry Club, it makes sense that he would feel like that, because he was a leader who's, kicked out of his position. Or at least, kicked out, and all his friends basically suffered too. But now we're gonna have some interesting conflicts going on, as things are really heating up now, and especially now that New Year and the show's back. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy this episode? What do you think is going to be going on next episode? And it's a new year, new season of anime. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, of course, is still going, but for other season anime, we'll see what I can do for that. But thank you so much for subscribing and sticking around and leaving likes, all that cool stuff. But anyway, this is Rex. Have a nice day.